how much he loves the game of basketball, how he'll do anything to win, and then just the way he carries himself. You know, he's got a child now, so he's a dad, and I love to see that for him. And I definitely think he has his priorities in order. But more than anything, man, he's so dominant. I love the fact that when he catches the ball at the top of the key, we got every guy on our team trying to get the ball from him. Like, if I'm him, I'm looking at that like, damn, I'm that good of a player and I draw that much attention. And then more than anything, man, once you're in the trenches with me, you've always been in the trenches with me. So I just got so much love and respect for him.
You get a sense of how much about you hit back-to-back, you hit X Games.
I mean, yeah, I can understand just because he wants to win. He's a fierce competitor, but I'm glad he didn't win against us. I don't feel bad for him in that sense, but he'll have another shot at it again next year, that's for sure.
Question about the game tonight. You've played so well all series, but in the first half, you were actually 3 of 10 shooting. Did you have a conversation with yourself, kind of knowing that for you? You came out in the third quarter, I think, at 14.
Nah, missed some shots as part of the game, but I've never been a guy to take 29 shots like I did tonight, which is crazy. But I like to think that I can affect the games in more ways than scoring. So if I would have stayed 3 for 10, I would hope that I've done more than enough to help the team win, whether it be getting stops, rebounding, taking a charge, whatever the case is. 3 for 10, that's okay. I made some shots in the end.
All right, Jimmy, thanks, sir.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.
Breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ. Out of the NBA, the Philadelphia 76ers will be bringing back Doc Rivers as their head coach this fall. That's what team president Daryl Morey had to say this afternoon. The Sixers won 51 games this season, earning the 4 seed in the East. They were bounced from the playoffs last night, falling to the Miami Heat in 6 games. It's the second straight year the Sixers have been eliminated in the second round, but that's nothing new. The team hasn't made it to the conference finals since 2001, when that team, led by Allen Iverson, lost to the Lakers in the finals. Their most recent championship, of course, way back in 1983 in the era of Moses Malone and Dr. J. Now here is Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers just moments ago speaking with the media.
Those guys have been building for years. They've done a tremendous job, so credit to Miami. And, it hurts to have to lose to them, but they really went out there and took it. And we need some of that toughness. We need, a lot of what we saw from them. And look, we can do it. We've got a lot of resources. We've got a lot of flexibility. Josh and David give us, every ability to go out and do what we need to do. And that's why right now hurts a lot, because we know the fans' expectations, our own expectations for ourselves, everything's being provided, and we did not achieve what we want, which is a championship. And we're not afraid to talk about it. That is the goal. We have one of the best, if not the best player on the planet, and we have to do more, all of us. And yeah.
You want me to talk now after that?
So
All right.
that was pretty long there. Sorry.
No, I'm joking. It's I agree. Like, our goals haven't changed at all. I took this job because I believe that we can turn this organization and change the culture in this organization. I think we're doing that, and change the team into a championship team. As I said last night, winning's hard. But you have to be willing to go through it. You have to be willing to climb the mountain. You have to be willing to fall and get back up and keep climbing. And then that's your go as an organization. So for me, nothing has changed in that go. There's no guarantee you're going to win the first year, the second year, the third year, but you want to. Man, I told our guys today, don't be shy of saying that there's nothing wrong with voicing to yourself that you want to win. And your goal is a championship. I think a lot of coaches are scared of that. A lot of teams are scared of that. I want us to not be. Same thing with our fans. Our fans are thirsty for a winner. They're no more thirsty than me. They're no more thirsty than all our players. And we match their thirst. We really do. And so, as I say to them every year, you open your heart up as a team and as a coach, and knowing that there's a chance. And statistically, there's a greater chance that it's going to get broken, but it's worth the risk. And that's the best part of my job. It really is, that the chase and to get it right. I obviously know how that feels, and that burns me more to get it again. And that's what we're on the chase for to do. So very proud of a lot of our guys, our young guys, and Joel, and there's weaknesses clearly that we have to improve as a team, and we're not going to run from that either. And we're going to try to get that right as well.
All right, let's have a discussion with NBA analyst Tim Doyle and NBA writer Bill Reiter. Later in the press conference, just a little bit later, Daryl Morey was explicitly asked whether Doc Rivers was going to be back. He emphatically said that Doc would be back. So, Tim, what's your reaction to Rivers returning for a third season with the Sixers?
When it's all said and done, Doc Rivers is going to be a Hall of Fame coach. He's been a head coach in the NBA since 1999, when Bill Clinton was the president of the United States, when Ricky Martin, Reiter, was living La Vida Loca, okay? And I know a lot of people right now in Philadelphia are going crazy, and they are frustrated, but I don't know. If you're going to fire Doc Rivers, okay, top 10 all-time in wins, NBA championship, top 10 all-time in win percentage, who else would you hire?
Well, I think that's the question. Now, Doc Rivers is universally considered much less of a coach now than he was when he won that championship, really a generation ago with the Boston Celtics. But Tim hit the nail on the head. Daryl Morey did not hire Doc Rivers. He inherited him. But he's got two problems he's got to navigate in this offseason. One is James Harden. That's a Daryl Morey problem. That's a money problem. The other is Doc Rivers. Doc Rivers has 3 years and $24 million left on his contract. And so for Daryl Morey to make the decision to fire Doc Rivers and to move on without, as Tim pointed out, a clear choice that's going to be a win, and to eat that money, that's a difficult thing to explain to your owner. It's a difficult thing to navigate. I think here Daryl Morey is just taking the lesser of the two evils, talking to sources around the NBA in that Phillies organization. Daryl Morey and Doc Rivers aren't exactly the best of friends. Doc's not a Daryl guy. But it's better to ride with someone who's got a history of success when he's got that kind of money coming, and hope they can find solutions to the many problems that ail the Sixers and other places.
Yeah, including that NBA championship with the Celtics. I mean, his teams have made the playoffs in 14 of the last 15 seasons, so he's always giving his team a chance to win an NBA championship. It's just that they just can't seem to get over the hump. 7 exits in the second round of the playoffs. So you have a third straight conference final, semifinal loss for Doc. You heard what Morey said about the Sixers here, Bill, the fact that they need some toughness. They need what Miami has. So how far away are they?
I think they're far. And let me say this. I don't subscribe to the notion that Doc Rivers is a remarkable head coach. He's blown, as a head coach, more 3-1 series leads in the history of the NBA playoffs than any other coach. He's tied with the most 3-2 series leads that he's given away as a head coach in the history of the NBA. And he's not philosophically aligned with Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey teams want to shoot 3-point shots, the percentage be damned. Doc Rivers teams are almost always in the bottom 3 or 4 teams in terms of number of 3-point shots taken over a season, including this year. They were 27th in 3-pointers attempted and 7th in 3-point percentage. So I don't think it's a great fit. I think this is more about the politics Daryl Morey has inherited. As for the toughness, that's a situation, I think, where Daryl Morey is speaking pretty directly to James Harden. Because Joel Embiid, who's the star of this team, played with a hurt thumb, played after a concussion, played with that injury to his eye socket. That is a statement to James Harden, because I think, in talking to sources and just common logic, you give away half of a team for James Harden, you're going to have to keep him. You're probably going to have to extend him. He's got a player option this summer. You need the actual James Harden, the old James Harden, the person Joel Embiid referred to as the former Houston Rockets James Harden, to show up. That's toughness, that's conditioning, that's working out, that's taking care of your body. You do that, the rest of the team, I think, will follow suit in that regard.
Yeah, Harden has to reinvent himself. He is at a crossroads in his career. 2 years ago, guys, he averaged 34 points a game. 3 years ago, he averaged 36 points a game. He's only 32 years old, but this is like typical father time stuff. Like, you can't roll out to the club till 4 and then roll into the gym and just go out there and get 30. You can when you're 26. You can when you're 28. And then at 30, Jeremy, we know you're old. You got gray hair, right? You start getting out of bed. Oh, like he can't do it anymore. So either he's going to mail it in and his career is going to go down the tubes. He's at the age right now, when you look at guys from the 80s and the 90s, this is when their career starts to fall off. So what he needs to do is hire a chef, get himself in amazing shape. Like, remember when he got fat in Houston because he wanted to get traded? Like, he's been on so many different teams. Like, if Philadelphia is going to be his home, I challenge him. I love Harden. He made a video for my son when he was going through open heart surgery. We root for him in this household. I think he's an amazing offensive player. But Bill is right. This is a point in his career where he has to look into the mirror and be like, all right, I could still go out there, because clearly he can go out there and still be a difference maker, but he has to put the work in. He legit has to change himself in this offseason. And if he does, guys, last year, 1 year ago, he thrusted himself into the MVP conversation when he was on the Nets. So he just has to put the work in. There is talent there. They just have to figure out who they are in Philadelphia.
Well, and Morey said that, we all need to kind of look in the mirror, and you had to think that maybe that comment was directed just a little bit towards James Harden. But Tim, I mean, the Lakers were reportedly interested in Rivers if he was to get fired. Not a lot of marquee NBA jobs out there. Is this just a case for Doc? I mean, did he want to come back? Is this just the best fit for him as a coach right now when he looks at the landscape?
Bill's so smart. He brings up the money sitch. Like, that's a lot of money. I mean, the guy's making more money now coaching than he did over like a 10-year playing span. Like, the money is so insane right now that, Doc, he started as a head coach when he was 38 years old. All right. He's 60 years old. He's still a head coach. So, like, think about the world has changed since 1999, and he is still out there relating to players, still out there winning games. I think when we're old, and finally when I stop dyeing my hair, I have gray hair, I think we're going to look back and we're going to say Doc Rivers coached an era where the Warriors were unbelievable. Oh, by the way, they added Kevin Durant. And really, it was the LeBron James's entire career. So he never coached Golden State. He never coached LeBron. He obviously was in a really tough era and had some really competitive teams. But when you're in it so thick right now, it's like, I get it. Doc Rivers has lost a lot of series where he's had a lead. But he has an NBA title, something a Hall of Famer like Don Nelson, Rick Allen. Either one of those guys can say that. NBA championship.
Bill, what do you think?
Well, as it relates to Doc Rivers' resume, yeah, I mean, the guy's had a remarkable career. But again, I'm just going to go back to what I said earlier. Since that Boston Celtics championship in, 2008, that's a long time ago, it's been a pretty mediocre return. As it relates to the Lakers job, his name was certainly in the mix, but in talking to sources here in Los Angeles, my understanding was that Doc Rivers would have been considered but wasn't a target. And as I understand it from Philly sources, Doc Rivers wanted to stay in Philadelphia, which is where you want to be. You can win an NBA championship if you make the right moves with Joel Embiid. He's a top 3-4 player in the NBA every single year. The jury's kind of out on where LeBron James is in that respect. I think LeBron's still at that level, but he's obviously a much older guy. Doc Rivers wanted to be in Philadelphia, wanted to see it through, and he said this in his press conference last night after they got eliminated, believes that Embiid has an even higher ceiling to go This wasn't about whether or not Doc Rivers wanted to be there or not be there. It was frankly about whether Daryl Morey was going to allow a coach he did not hire and who did not make it to the conference finals to stay. Having made that decision, Daryl Morey deciding Doc Rivers will stay, which is what Doc Rivers wanted. It's now about he and Doc trying to figure out the biggest conundrum with this team, and that is what to do with James Harden in terms of on the roster. And assuming he stays, and I think he will, guys, how do you get him, as Tim talked about, as I talked about, back to a level that makes sense with what he makes and what he needs to bring if you're going to be successful in Philadelphia?
Certainly a key piece as they move forward. 51-31 this season were the Sixers, fourth in the Eastern Conference. NBA analyst Tim Doyle, NBA writer Bill Reiter hopping on with us to discuss Doc Rivers returning to the Sixers for a third season after another earlier than anticipated exit from the playoffs. As you take a look at the results under Doc Rivers in the 2 seasons that he has been there, first seed in the East last year and then went out in the second round, fourth seed in the East this year, and again out in the second round.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.